Okay, I'm back. First things first, I've got a new microphone, so the audio might sound a little bit better. So I want to know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if the audio actually sounds better, right? First of all, I'm going to talk about the bad things about this chapter, and then I'm going to talk about the good things and end on a positive note, right? And then I'm going to explain why I took a few days off, kind of thing. Well, more like 1 or 2 weeks off, right? So, this new chapter is nothing really surprising. Turns out Kashinkoji is a Jiraiya clone, right? And based on what we've seen in this chapter, he basically is losing. Well, he's lost anyway, but he's fulfilled his purpose. There are a few things in there that I didn't understand. So the only negative I have of this chapter is actually something that just happens in every single chapter, and that is when Ikemoto actually draws. He always does these close-ups of the eye, and I feel like that's a huge waste of a panel. I'd rather see facial expressions. And then the other thing is that he really draws very awkward positions, right? So yeah, those are the two negatives that I have for this chapter and any other chapter. It's just the positions look very awkward and unnatural. And second of all, there's too many close-up eye shots. Like literally in every page, there's at least one or two eye shots, which is very repetitive, right? I want different angles. Anyway, let's talk about the fight and how it ensues. So, Kashinkoji starts fighting Isshiki, the real Isshiki. And the thing I want to mention about Isshiki is this, right? So, when he was fighting Naruto and Sasuke for the first time, he beat them in Jigen's body. And that means that he was at his weakest that he could possibly be. And he whooped these niggas' asses in his weakest form. So, if he did that in his weakest form, now that he is revived fully, there is not going to be a fight. That's just period. There ain't going to be a fight. Because at first, when he was revived, and it was actually clarified in this manga, I thought that he has been revived with a body that is weak, and therefore he will not have full access to his power. But that is not the case at all. The real understanding here, based on what I've got of this chapter, is that he has been revived at full power. It just so happens that the body cannot handle his full power and that he's going to die in a few days. So that kind of clarified everything for me. And now we have a full powered Isshiki who's going to die in 3 days, and he's going to Konoha to fuck up Naruto and Sasuke. And there's nothing they can do because they couldn't handle this guy at his weakest. So now let's talk about Kashinkoji. Now, I was a bit disappointed with the fights with Kashinkoji because I thought that even though this guy's Jiraiya, even though he has different, even though he has similar jutsu to Jiraiya, he would actually show us something different, different combinations or something like that. Maybe a Jiraiya 2.0, but this one has actually improved and learned of Jiraiya's story and, learned his combat style. And because he's in Kara, he would actually be very powerful. But no, it turns out that he is just a shinobi that's good at doing what he does and basically has the skill set of Jiraiya. That's basically it, right? So, in this fight, all he was doing is just spamming fire jutsus, and I wanted to see more stuff. Jiraiya has Doton. I wanted to see more of that. He never used Doton. So yeah, very disappointed with that fight. And at the end of the day, he kind of lost, and we all were kind of expecting it because he is handling Isshiki Otsutsuki at full power. There was no chance in hell that he was going to win. And then Isshiki mentions this thing, which is Amado's betrayal to Kashinkoji, which doesn't make sense to me because he's talking as if Kashinkoji did not know that Amado basically left him to die. Like he said, this is my mission. This is what I was created to do. So at the end of the day, whether I die or not, it doesn't really matter because I'm a shinobi, and that's what shinobi are. They are tools, right? So I don't understand why he's telling Kashinkoji that he has something to discuss with Amado about betrayal. That absolutely makes no sense. When this guy, before the fight, basically said, yeah, I'm designed to do that, and I'm perfectly okay with it, right? So, speaking about Kashinkoji, we learn in this chapter that this guy, in fact, actually has Sage Mode, and this is not the regular, no, this is not Sage Mode that Jiraiya had. This is a perfected Sage Mode. So, I guess he most likely perfected Sage Mode at whatever mountain he went to. But then that begs the question: is if he learned Sage Mode, right, he must have learned it from the Toads. And if he learned it from the Toads, then the Toads must have known that there is another Jiraiya clone out there who came there to train, right? So they should have informed Naruto, but they didn't. So, yeah, that's very questionable. Second of all, this place that he allegedly summons his fire from and all that, this mountain or wherever it is that he gets his summonings from, is different from where Jiraiya trains. So maybe there's like there are different types of mountains which basically represent villages where there are other toads, right? Who knows? But maybe that is where he learned Sage Mode from. Either that or Amado is able to create humans that already have Sage Mode. And that is not really a surprise because Orochimaru did create Mitsuki, and Mitsuki was capable of awakening Sage Mode, right? So that's really not a surprise anymore. But then again, he is a perfect version of Jiraiya because, well, he has Sage Mode, and Jiraiya wasn't able to get that without the help of the True Frogs, right? So, yeah. Let's talk about Isshiki's ability. So what we learn in this chapter is that not only can he shrink stuff, he can make it disappear into another dimension where time does not flow, and then what he can do is summon it whenever he wishes and scale it up to its original size. So that is a very useful ability. I wonder what is the limit size of this ability, because if he can shrink a lot of things that are not alive, he can basically shrink an entire city and then put it in this dimension and then summon it back again, right? And I wonder what else he has stored, because now, because of this ability, it allows the writer to pull out anything out of Ishiki's little magic dimension where he stores stuff and use it. So this is a good opportunity for the writer to pull out anything, and it wouldn't really break the story. It wouldn't be bullshit, right? It would be convenient to the plot because he has basically a magic bag full of items that he can pull things out of. So we get a scene where Amado talks, and first of all, he confirms that he trolled the shit out of them, right? So Amado might possibly be a sadistic person, but he's not sadistic to the point where he would actually endanger a child in order to get to his goal. At least that is what he makes it come across as, right? So because he never really strapped a bomb to Shikadai's neck and he was actually bluffing, at the end of the day, he kind of tricked them. He knew, and he was very, very sure that these people will at least consider if he was strapping a bomb onto Shikadai's neck or not. So that eases Shikamaru's mind, and he now that creates a relationship between those two where he knew that he only got tricked and this guy really didn't endanger his son. So that gives him a little bit of trust back to Shikamaru in terms of just relationship in general and the leaf. Now, based on what Amado said, it is something that is very obvious. Jigen, I said Jigen, Isshiki Otsutsuki is going to die in 3 days because the power he has cannot be contained in the body that he has, and he needs a vessel right away. The next thing that Isshiki is going to do is come after Kawaki. That makes sense. So we get back to the fight. Kashinkoji is using Sage Mode now. He fights Isshiki. He loses. He gets his ass whooped. Isshiki actually pins him down in the same way Jiraiya was kind of pinned down, and he lost his arm. I think he lost his right arm, so I wonder if that's the same arm Jiraiya lost. It's been a while since I watched that scene, so I don't really know. So he loses his arm. Apparently, he can't feel his legs because his legs have, I think, been pinned down as well, right? So I think he lost his legs and his arms, and then he uses summoning. Before that, obviously, Isshiki explains his ability, and Kashinkoji basically escapes. I think that Isshiki basically let Kashinkoji escape because, remember, this is an Otsutsuki that is powerful than Kaguya Otsutsuki, so his speed is going to be on point. If he wanted, he could have killed Kashinkoji right there. He also believes that Kashinkoji is going to die anyway because he said, "Oh, are you going to Amado so you can relay your dying words?" That means that he's confident that he's fucked up Kashinkoji enough for this guy to die in a few moments notice, right? In a few moments. So possibly the reason why Kashinkoji cannot feel his body anymore is because probably Isshiki has done something when he pinned him down to kill him from the inside, and maybe that's why he can't feel his body, because he's slowly dying, right? So maybe Kashinkoji is dying, and maybe he will get back to Konoha to speak to Amado and then get noticed by Naruto, because at the end of the day, this is another revival of Jiraiya, and Naruto needs to have that interaction. He needs to have that closure kind of thing, because I think what Kashinkoji has is he probably still has Jiraiya's memories, right? But he knows he's a different person, so therefore he develops differently than Jiraiya. So at least he can tell Naruto, if Jiraiya were alive, this is what he would have said, kind of thing, and that would be perfect. Like that would make sense because most of the time when someone dies and another person who wants to help you says, "Oh, this is what the person would have said." The truth be told is they don't know what the person would have said, but this time it's the actual person, but then a clone of him who has the same memories, so he can give Naruto closure. So Isshiki basically pulls up in Konoha, right? And before he does that, he does something very savage. First of all, remember he whooped Naruto and Sasuke's ass in Jigen's body, right? This guy, not only does he whoop Kashinkoji's ass, but he goes on to demonstrate his ability by drinking alcohol, bruh. And this is wine, so this nigga could easily be waved. This nigga could easily be drunk as fuck by drinking that glass of wine. I've never seen anyone chug down wine so quickly. So this nigga might be very drunk when he pulls up in Konoha. Either that or he was just trying to demonstrate his ability. But if this guy drinks wine after whooping Kashinkoji's ass, seeing him on the floor pathetically, and drinks wine, first of all, that proves that Kashinkoji was never a threat in the first place, which we all know. And second of all, if this guy is confident enough to drink wine and teleport to Konoha drunk, right, that means that he is confident that even though he is drunk, he can still whoop Naruto and Sasuke's ass. And to be honest with you, he can whoop their ass in his worst state. So in his best state, he can whoop their ass drunk. So I hope that's exactly what happens. I hope he actually whoops Naruto and Sasuke's ass drunk, and that increases the tension right there, because not only can they not fuck with this guy in his weakest form, but in his strongest form, they still cannot fuck with him. And in his strongest form, while he's drunk, they cannot touch him still. Right, so yeah, that's basically this chapter. Very excited for what happens next month. Sadly, the chapters only come out next month, right? So yeah, that's basically it with my chapter review. I want to know what you think. Now, I'm going to explain why I took a few days off. So, well, a few weeks off. Reason why is because I was just looking at the state of my channel, and to be honest with you, my channel is growing, but not at the rate that I want it. And I put in a lot of work, and I was not seeing any results. And based on a lot of the research I've done, and based on a few mentors that I've seen online talk about things, if you put 6 months to do something and you're not seeing the progress that you want, or at least it's not making any good progress, then just leave it as that, right? So I was thinking about that and thinking about my channel, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to leave it as that, but I'm still going to, produce content here and there, but just not as regular as I usually do, to be honest with you, because all the time and energy I was putting into this channel actually made me neglect a lot of things. It made me neglect a lot of people around me. It made me neglect a lot of my duties. And to be honest with you, the strain on me was mentally not good. I was very irritable, and it was just not good. So I've learned to let go a little bit more, and I'm not going to be focusing a lot of my time on this channel, right? Because there are other things that I can put that time and effort in that will actually do better. If I have I think 28,000 subscribers, and on average I get 1,000 views to probably 3,000 views, right? That means that a huge majority of my subscriber base are basically dead or redundant, and that makes no sense for me to be constantly working hard when a lot of these people who are subscribed to me are not even bothering to are not bothering to subscribe, right? And are not really bothered to add comments, because YouTube does boost your videos based on the likes and based on the interactions in the comments. That's why I keep telling you guys to just leave comments, so it boosts the channel, people get to see it and actually make progress in life. But that's clearly not happening, and I do thank those people who actually do leave comments and who do like my videos, people who do actually share it. But yeah, I'd say a huge 70 to 80% don't do jack shit. So it just made me evaluate, why put in so much effort when a lot of people don't give me any value back, right? So yeah, I'm gonna put majority of that energy into something else, which will eventually, blossom and give me better opportunities out there. And yeah, those past few weeks that I've actually taken off, I felt the best. I'm no longer as stressed. I'm not neglecting a lot of things, and my health is actually better. So yeah, you will get a few videos here and there, but yeah, that's basically where I'm deciding to leave this, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's at some point in time I will start uploading quite a lot, but as of right now, I'm just taking a step back and just uploading here and there whenever I can. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Now, I want to know your thoughts in the comment section or down below about this chapter review. And that said, I'm going to watch the anime right now because apparently the Kara arc starts today, right? So I'm gonna look at that, and apparently it's dark based on the comments I read on Twitter. And the other thing is that I can't believe we are still getting episodes on Chocho and her food addiction, man, for the 145th fucking time, bro. I really don't want to see this. But I guess that's what it is. Dragon Ball Super made that formula up, and people are eating that up because Dragon Ball Super got away with it. So now Boruto's gonna get away with wasting our time, giving us useless filler. Yeah, yeah. I have nothing more to say. I'm just ranting at the end of the day. Yeah, just let me know your thoughts in the comments, and then that's basically it. Bye.